pleasure to introduce today's guest speaker, Julia Walderzak, Chief Wine Officer of the Decanted Wine Truck. Julia began her entrepreneurial career 15 years ago and has started a variety of businesses because, well, she just can't sit still, including H2K, her mobile-based kids fitness company, which began franchising in 2017. Her love for wine started back in her days of working in the restaurant business of New York City. The more she learned about wine, the more she fell in love with it. No, who wouldn't? Julia knew something wine-related was going to be a business venture for her someday. Cut to a few years later, the pandemic hit, and Julia, like many, had to shut her H2K business down and sadly lay off many people. However, she saw the closing of her business as her opportunity to jump on this crazy wine camper idea that she had been dreaming of, and Decanted was born. Julia is a mom of 3 and loves spending time with family and friends with good food and great wines. BFFs, please join me in welcoming to the podium Julia Walderzak.
I sound so fancy. You made me sound so fancy. Not that fancy. Thank you so much for having me. Like she said, I started my entrepreneurial career in 2013. I was done with the corporate world, with all of the corporate drama, my bosses, they were crazy, and I just said, this is it. I had 2 passions, fitness and wine. I know it sounds weird. My husband jokes around, he's like, yeah, you went from Zumba to Zinfandel. I'm like, okay, well, it can happen. So I opened up H2K Happy Healthy Kids. We specialized in non-competitive fitness for families and children. A lot of what I want to talk about today is overcoming obstacles and pivoting in business, because I think that's truly what can make you successful or be your downfall. So I had this great idea. I was going to open up this kids fitness studio. We had our first location in Sudbury and then in Arlington. And it was a struggle. There were months where I was worried we were going to pay our rent, staffing issues, theft, but I just kept saying, okay, we're going to make it work, we're going to make it work. A lot of sleepless nights. And at the same time, we were being approached by after-school programming, and they said, well, come to us, we want the classes here. And I was like, that's interesting. I'm making more money going around to all of these schools than paying for these brick and mortars. So it was the first time I really had to set my ego aside and say, okay, this is what your vision was, it's not happening. So how are we gonna make this change? And we did, and it was the best decision I ever made. And from then on, we were rocking and rolling. I was living the dream. I had a manager. I had 40 instructors. We were in 3 different states. I was traveling with my family. I'm like, this is amazing. And then this thing called the pandemic happened. I remember that day very vividly. I lost my whole company in 24 hours. So my salary, I had to lay off my manager, 40 instructors. It was devastating. Everything I had worked for. So my husband looked at me and he said, okay, well, this is good. You can relax, enjoy life a little bit. And I was like, yeah, that's hilarious. I was like, you know me better than that. That lasted all of 24 hours. So I knew I had always wanted to be in the wine world, but I didn't know how. And I did not want to do another brick and mortar. And so I kind of was like, it would be cool. It'd be really cool if I had this wine camper that came in and we just show up at these events and it's gonna be amazing. And I'm like, is this legal? Can I do this? Well, I can. I did take on a partner for this business, and we spent the lockdown getting our licensing, going through all the red tape, and renovating Winona, which is our camper. And let me tell you, she was not pretty. My husband is a corporate guy, very supportive. But when he first saw Winona, I thought he was gonna pass out. Literally. I was like, are you all right? You need to set this something? He's like, what are we investing our money in? I'm like, just wait, you're gonna see it, she's gonna be beautiful. And he was like, okay. You do it, babe. I'm like, we did. So that's, and I say it was the perfect storm. We were something happy that came out of the pandemic, something inspirational. We were local moms. I have a 6, 4, and my son just turned 3. And it was crazy. The press, I remember our first news segment, the anchor said to me, he's like, it's so nice to finally do a story about something positive that came out of COVID. And like, it was amazing. It just gave me chills. And it was crazy to me because I made in 6 months what it took me to make in 5 years at H2K. And I looked at my husband and I was like, what is this? He's like, moms love wine. I was like, yeah, they do. They definitely do. So, we do everything from private events, corporate events, micro weddings. We do it all. We are working on our second camper now. And again, so we were rocking and rolling, having the best time, everything is amazing. And then I faced the biggest obstacle I've ever had to face. And that was when my business partner told me that she was leaving. Again, something that I never anticipated, wasn't sure how to navigate it. It was very, I assimilated to a divorce, uncomfortable, still raw for me, but I surrounded myself with the most amazing team. Thank you, Jen. A lot of crying. She helped me through, but I had to pivot. Again, it's not what I envisioned, but we had to make it work, and we had to navigate it, and we had to adapt to our new environment, and we had customers and clients that we had to worry about. So we have now made that transition, and it's been wonderful. We, because our second wine camper was not finished for this season, I had to turn away 50 events, which was not fun. I was like, ooh, every time, ooh, sorry, we can't do it. Rosie's not ready. And so I was like, there has to be a way out of this. What can we do? And so sure enough, I was like, why don't we have a wine cart? And I had it custom made in the UK, so now every time we have to say that Winona is booked, I say, but I have this really cool wine cart and her name is Blanche. And they're like, great. Because we provide the whole experience. And that's what we bring to our customers, our clients. We love what we do. But it has definitely been a wild ride. And I remember something very poignant when I first was getting my first SBA loan. And I was sitting with a loan officer who was a gentleman. And he said to me, well, what are you going to do if you want to start a family someday? 2013, I didn't know whether to punch him in the face or run out crying. I'm like, I thought we were progressive enough, like, really? So I just looked him in the eye and I said, I'm gonna do what every other man in business does. And we're gonna get it done. And then my loan was approved that afternoon. So we just got our licensing in Connecticut. We have an amazing event coming up. We actually have a summer solstice party, Ashland Corner Spot. It's open to the public. It's a white party, and we're doing cocktails and all sorts of fun things. But we continue to grow. We are looking for a commercial space now because if I put any more decorations in my basement, I think my husband's gonna pass out again. And we're moving. We're gonna be getting our licensing in Connecticut. Well, we got it in Connecticut. We're looking into Rhode Island, Maine. So there's a lot of great things headed for us. But thank you for having me, and I wanted to open it up to anybody who has any questions. I'm here. Yes.
Maybe it is a stupid question, but do you make your own wine?
That is a good question. I do not currently make my own wine, but I'm going to Napa this fall, and we are looking into white labeling some wine for Decanted. So we'll probably have some type of white and a red. So we're meeting with vineyards and winemakers. Anybody else? Yes.
Can you talk about the decision to bring on
Yeah, totally. So I never had a partner before, but when I had this idea, I was sharing it with a friend who I'd been friends with for 10 years, and she had wanted to get out of her career, and she's like, are you looking for a partner? I didn't take that decision lightly. We sat down, we had several meetings, going over our roles, everything that we would be doing, but at the end of the day, we thought it was a really great fit, and it was. And it was for a while. But because of different life choices, she decided this was not the right thing for her at this time. It started off lovely. We had really great discussions, but then there was sort of this turn when it comes to finances and talking about money, which is uncomfortable for anybody, especially if you've been friends with somebody for 10 years. At that point, I knew I needed to protect myself and the business, and that's when I did get an attorney involved, and still kept it as easy breezy as possible. And we worked with the attorney to come up with what we thought was a fair buyout and what the terms would be, and that was basically it. So it was delicate though in a way that she was very much a part of the company, and we wanted to make sure that our customers still felt that we had the same energy. That was the most important thing to me, is that we are still Decanted. Like, we are still having fun on our Instagram, we're singing in our car, we're dancing with clients at events. That is who we are, that's our brand. I think we've done a really good job of maintaining that, and the new staff that we've brought on carries that same charisma and personality, so I think we've nailed it. Yes?
Starting a new business during the pandemic.
Yes.
So can you talk a little bit about all your marketing, because it was something brand new, people were at home.
Yeah.
So how did you go about your marketing?
So when we had the idea and we started going, I wanted to make sure that we started. Now, I was not really on Instagram. Like, I had 2 followers. And I just wasn't my thing. So I was like, all right, let's start our Instagram account first. And I want people to see our progress. I want them to start to get excited about it. So that's what we did, a lot of that. And then I was like, all right, because of my business experience before, I'm gonna send out a press release to these local papers, local organizations, and then it was like wildfire. All of a sudden we're on Chronicle, we're getting calls for, Channel 5 News, and I was like, this is crazy. But people, they love the idea of something fun and positive, and it was. So that's initially how the word got out. It was all this, it was like one press, one news article. I think our first one was in Telegram and Gazette, and then from there it just spiraled. And then I was like, I can't handle this. I need a professional. And that's when we found Jen. So she is our amazing marketing manager, and she has been with us, and I don't know what I would do without her. But she took what we kind of started and then just ran with it, and it's been great. Yeah, go ahead. I look great.
That's right, yeah. Think of more. Would you partner with someone else?
No. That's the hard no. I would entertain investors, but I would never ever give away 50% of my company again. Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little more about your transition out of corporate and making the decision to become an entrepreneur, and maybe some of the, things you experienced maybe in the early days of that, and what that was like for you?
Yeah, for sure. So I was the head event planner for Dylan's Candy Bar in New York City. Ralph Lauren's daughter owns it. Yeah. And so she was very interesting to work for. So I did all of their special events there, and the CEO of the company, I had been dealing with a lot, and this was the final moment that I said, I'm done. I went home and said to my husband, because my boss looked at me and she told me not to speak until I was spoken to. Seriously, that was like 2012, yeah. And I was like, why? Why am I don't like this. Like, I feel icky. I don't feel good. Drinking wine every night. Not that that's different now, but not a good place for me, and I knew that I wanted more. I knew I wanted to be my own boss. And so I and again, very supportive husband, and I dabbled a little bit. I had a boutique event company in New York that kind of got my juices running, and I was like, oh, I really like this. This is really fun. And then when we decided we wanted to have a family, we wanted to move back to Massachusetts, and I was like, I know there's this niche for kids that don't like sports. I was that child. I struggled with childhood obesity. The only thing that I had was to run, and I hated running, and I was like, there's gotta be an outlet. There has to be. And that's how that came to be. But it was tough. They were dragging their feet. Everybody's like, just get an SBA loan. They were dragging their feet, giving me an SBA loan. Then when I finally did get approved, they were micromanaging every single expense. And they put on these really unrealistic terms for me. And I remember when I paid off the loan, I wrote them this letter just explaining how difficult this process was for me and the things that I felt that they needed to change. So it was hard. And there were times that I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? What I can, and then I thought about the corporate world, and I was like, no, not happening, not going back there. And then that was it for me. Once I made that big transition, even though it was hard, and then we continued to grow and pivot and started this whole mobile application for the business, I was like, this is what I meant to do. And so when the pandemic happened, I was like, I'm not sitting still.
What is the advice that you would give to somebody who's starting a business?
Well, I think the most important thing is that two things. I think that people underestimate how much of your life it takes over. You literally have to live and breathe your business for it to be successful. And if that means in the middle of the night me waking up and writing something down, I do that. This weekend we had 7 events in 3 days. If you saw me, I looked like a crazy person. I'm up at 6 a.m. wiping down Winona, sweating, yelling at my husband, get the inventory, do this, I don't get a moment, and especially when we're in season. So I think people going into business sometimes they think it's easy. They think it's just gonna be like, oh, this is cute. I was telling them before, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna do a wine camper, it's gonna be so cute and pretty. And then I was like, oh wait, I have to do what? I have to lift a generator? I have to trailer? I have to do all of these things? Oh gosh, I just thought I'd rolled in. But that, and also being able to check yourself and your ego, as I mentioned, and just say to yourself, okay, yeah, that was a bad idea. This didn't work. It's not working for me, it's not working for the business, I'm not bringing in money, so let's change it. And it's okay. It's okay to be vulnerable and say, like, I fucked up. Like, this isn't working. Yes?
So you're amazing, Julia.
Oh.
Thank you for sharing your story. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
How do your children talk to their friends about what mommy does?
Oh my gosh, that's a funny question. My 4-year-old the other day came out and was like, Rose all day. And, and they go to a Catholic school, so I'm like, oh my God. They say so it's so funny, my 6-year-old, she knows, they call it the wine truck, Decanted, and she said to me, Mommy, I want to be like you. And I said, okay, well, what do you want to do? She's like, I want to open up a milk and cookies truck. And I was like, well, you can do that. And there are often times, and yesterday was one of those days where I was sad because I was like, I used to be able to be at the beach with them and do all these things, and am I a horrible parent, and what am I doing? But then at the end of the day, I hear them say things like that, and I realize what I'm teaching them, and that they can do, especially my girls, anything they want to do, and to never have anybody tell them no. And to me, I'm hoping that when they're 18, they're not like, I hate you, I never saw you, but like, hey, mom's a really cool entrepreneur, I want to aspire to be like her. So, yeah.
So if somebody want to invest money with you, what do you want to do with the money?
I have lots I could do. My 10-year plan is to have multiple trucks in multiple states with managers running those trucks. I franchised my H2K in 2017 That's not an experience I would like to do again, because again, people think that they want to be in business, but they don't understand what goes into it. So it's very hard to teach somebody that. So managers in multiple states, so I would use money to build out more trucks quickly. Also, we need a commercial home, we need an office, so I would use money for that, and also for hiring.
So what's the minimum of dollars you accept?
Well, I haven't I've had people offer investing, but I haven't accepted anything yet. So that's a good question. I don't know if I can necessarily answer that right now, but I don't know.
Consult your attorney.
Yeah, I'm gonna consult her. I plead the fifth. I'm talking to you first. Yes, I would have to work up those numbers. And the terms. Oh, yes. Yeah. See, I'm the creative. I'm like, oh, okay, sure. Give me money.
So it sounds like your husband is part of the business whether he wants to be here.
Correct.
Does he have an official title? Do you have him on payroll?
I do not have him on payroll. He has a full-time corporate job. So I just, yeah, I don't know. I just kind of make him do work. No, he's very invested. He knows that at the end of the day, it benefits our family as well. He does my we call him the head merchandising manager because he works with our t-shirt place in Hudson. And so he deals with her and he does all our merchandise orders, but he's not officially on payroll. He does, yeah. I mean, everybody loves him, he's the best, and you know, he works with everybody and he shows up to events and he's driving the wine cart around this whole weekend in our other van. Oh, that's the other thing, I need to get more commercial vehicles to tow all of my campers, so. Yes.
So how smooth was your first event?
How smooth was my first event with Decanted? It was actually really smooth. It was a 40th birthday party. It was in April. It was so cold. It was still when people were very COVID cautious and wearing masks. And the person that we were having the party for had some learning disabilities, and he was through the roof to be able to be outside with family and friends again. And it was very intimate. It was 10 people. But I remember that day, the father of the son whose birthday it was, he came up to me right away. He's like, I'm an angel investor. And I said, okay. He's like, I'm gonna invest in you. This is gonna make it. And I was like, it sure is, Frank, but I don't think we're ready for that yet. So it was great. And I think that's the biggest takeaway when I leave these events. People are just so happy to be together again and celebrate in their own homes, their backyards. I mean, we've all shifted, right? The pandemic has changed all of us. So I think these intimate gatherings I think they're gonna stay for a while. In these backyard events, people feel more comfortable. They're like, why, not that it's bad to go to a restaurant, of course, but like, I can have everybody here and we can just all celebrate here and everything's brought to me, it's easy. I bring the wine, I do signature cocktails, we do catering, we do decor. And so just every time we leave an event, we always get a hug and people are like, thank you so much. So, yeah.
How do people book you?
Through our website, decantedwinetruck.com. Also on Instagram, you can message us, you can call us, email us. We have forms on our website and we'll let you know. We are booking into 2023. So we actually just booked our first event with Rosie next June for a graduation party. So I tell people to get on it because we've had to turn away a lot of business and there's just only so much we can do right now. Yes.
Where'd the name Blanche come from?
Oh, so we have this really fun kind of cult following on Instagram. They're all like my mom ladies. And so we actually did a contest for everybody, and then some of the names were hilarious. Like, Cardi B. I mean, they were fun, and we had a ton of submissions. And Blanche was the one because Golden Girls, white and French, and if you see her, if you look at her Instagram or Facebook or website, she looks like a Blanche. She's very fancy. She was just at a baptism this weekend for like open bar for like 50 people, so serving up mimosas. Any other questions?
So how is the cart different than the camper?
The cart it's just a little, it's kind of like an ice cream cart. It's a mobile cart that we pull in, we set it up, we put the wine glasses, it has custom area where you can put the wine glasses, and then we put the decor all around it, and then we set up a back bar. So, yeah.
Do you still offer food when you have a?
Yep, we still offer full catering. It's just a different vessel. And the people have, you know, when Wino has been booked, they're like, okay, great, we'll take Blanche, because we were talking about this again. I think they just want the decanted experience. That's how we've grown, and it's more so our brand than Winona, although she's gorgeous. They love what they hear about us. They know that we provide the best service possible. Yeah.
How do you pick the wines?
Ooh, that's the fun part. All during COVID, every Tuesday, my wine distributor came over, and my husband's like, what is happening? I'm like, this is work, honey. Go away. So I reached out, when we first were opening, I reached out to 10 different wine distributors. Only one got back to me. And he's like my main squeeze now, Casey, I love him. I work with another distributor now in Shrewsbury. Her and her mom opened the company, and they're amazing. But basically, I taste a lot of wine, and we carefully curate our menus so that they're unique. They're not wines that you're going to be able to get in Total Wines or, you know, Whole Foods or Trader Joe's. We work with boutique vineyards, a lot of women winemakers. So we want to create that really fun experience for guests. And, you know, sometimes they don't care about the wine, let's be honest. They're like, I'll drink whatever. But then I'm like, okay, well, why don't you try this though? I think you might really like this. And they're like, oh my God! It's amazing. Where can I get it? And I was like, nowhere. They're like, thanks. But again, we want to provide that unique list. So we have different lists for different catering packages. And then of course, if there's something particular that you want, we can bring it in. But yeah.
Do you work with a specific caterer, or do you have kind of a group?
So we do our own, most of our own catering. Like we do our own hummus, we do quiches. Then I work with Malahy's in Hudson. She's amazing. Katie Quinn, and she does our cheese boards. And if we have anything more, like tomorrow we have a catering event, we do signature sandwiches, things like that. If they want something hot or something more intricate than a light menu, then we outsource and we work with other businesses. We're very friendly with Kith and Kin in Hudson. They have a food truck, Kiki, so we partner with them a lot. So yeah, if it's something that's kind of out of our comfort zone, then we'll partner with other caterers to kind of come in and work together. Yeah.
Julia, so we're all inspired by somebody. Where did you get your entrepreneurial genes to say, I have the chutzpah to go out and do this? Who inspires you today?
I think it would have to be my grandmother. She was very ahead of her time. She was the one in her 20s getting her secretarial license, is that what you call it? And moving to DC, which was super unheard of. And she wanted that. She wanted to be her own person, but got married young, and not so great husband, and ended up putting him through college. And she said it was her biggest regret. And I think hearing those stories made me want more, and knew I had the determination that she had, and I wanted to just run with it.
You're also full of ideas. You've started 2 businesses now. What's next for Julia?
Next for Julia. Oh gosh. I'm pretty happy where I'm at, and unless anything changes, like a pandemic, I just want to continue to grow this brand into the white labeling of wine and having a commercial space where we can do tastings or flower classes. And actually I'm going to Spain. I'm turning 40 June 28th. And I'm going to Barcelona, and I'm very excited because when we were first opening, had this pen pal basically in Spain that was also opening a wine truck. And we talked about the experience together. Well, she lives 45 minutes from Barcelona, so I'm going to meet with her when I'm there. And she's gonna give us a tour, but we're also kind of talking about maybe how we could work together. So, we'll see. Yes?
So I want to know your exact startup costs.
Really?
How much did it cost to bring her up to par?
I have to talk to my attorney.
And how much did it cost to stock it for your first party?
Okay.
Like if I want to do this in a month from now, like what would I need?
Oh boy. So campers are funny. They were really hot when the pandemic happened, but we ended up, Winona was $1,500. Rosie, we was in somebody's driveway, and my friend's stepdad drove by and he was like, hey, because it's a toy hauler, so she's gonna be different. She has a garage door that comes up with a slide out deck, back bar, there's gonna be a front bar. I refer to her as Winona's naughty older sister. But he said, yeah, I was gonna renovate this, it's been sitting here for 2 years. And we were like, what do you want for it? He's like, $500. I was like, okay, yep, okay, get her off, let's go. But licensing is very expensive. We spend as much in licensing as a full restaurant, if not more. Insurance is very expensive. But overall, because we did the work ourselves, we didn't hire a contractor. My friend is actually the contractor and gives us a very good deal on the renovations. With inventory and everything, I would say 15 to 20,000. Not bad, no. Mhm.
Yeah, and your first venture out was just year 9.
Yes. But we have, with our licensing, we have the ability to pour anything. So we can pour signature cocktails, we can do open bar wine and beer, we can do it all. In fact, we've recently been approached, I haven't even told you this yet, Jen, by dispensaries who would like to have their seltzers on our camper, which is interesting. They haven't quite figured out how the system works. They were like, hey, you just have your clients buy it from us and then you pick it up and bring it. And I was like, that doesn't really work for me. Like, what, is there any, do I get paid? Like, what's happening? But we've had requests at events for it, so it's something we're exploring, and we'll see if it happens.
Cannabis wagon.
Yep, cannabis wagon. Yeah?
Do you partner when you talk about like the full bar, do you partner with certain distilleries or breweries or anything like that, or you just kind of offer?
Nope, so when we do a full bar, I just work with my distributors and order all the spirits and liquor through them. We do work with local breweries. We work with Redemption Rock in Worcester, amazing B Corp, woman-owned company. We also work with Lost Shoe Brewing in Marlboro. We try to feature different breweries. I'm not a beer gal, so I try to work with places that are local and fun and, you know, kind of have their own following.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you for having me. If you have any other questions, I'll be around.